Hey guys, it is Kellen here from Start Your Systems, and welcome to MXGP 2019, the official video game. Our first look video here today on the channel, and I'm going to just go ahead and jump right into it because I know a lot of you guys probably wanted to come here to see the gameplay first before we do anything else. I'm going to do a double race at Madley Basin as part of the career mode, and then I will go into some more of the customizable options that are available within the game. And we'll just kind of take a general look at what you can do in this game, what is not available about this game from there. But obviously, like I said, starting it off by looking at the gameplay. If you haven't watched the video before, you may not know then that I've actually already played this game before. I was in Austria a month ago playing it, just a little early look there. So this isn't my true first look at the game, but I wanted to, release a video where you guys had a first look of it yourself. And as the game starts, you actually have to do like a career mode race right off the bat. Like you don't even get the opportunity to go straight to the main menu or anything like that. It loads you into the game. It makes you create a character, and then you go straight into your first Grand Prix race as part of like a privateer effort. Or actually, you can choose to be on an official team right off the bat, which I thought was kind of interesting. And the way that you get onto an official team is by like leveling up your character through, doing well in races and gaining prestige. And then you unlock basically the ability to join these teams. And at any point, it seems you can exit or join these teams whenever you want. And then you can also choose to just be on your own setup, which I am now, which is essentially a stock Honda 250F that I picked at the beginning of the game. With this SEJ as my sponsor. It's on the shroud and on my back and a couple other places on the jersey. But yeah, so I put it on a realistic AI. As you can tell, the AI is pretty challenging to begin with. I don't have a fully leveled up bike or anything like that, but I noticed that even when I was playing this in Austria, it seems like they are pretty tuned up this year. So that's one kind of positive. And then another thing that I've really enjoyed with playing the game thus far that I noticed as well was the cornering seems like it's a lot slower. And as anybody who has ridden a dirt bike in real life would know, it's not like wide open everywhere. You do actually have to brake and get into corners and meter your clutch and throttle control. You don't have to use the clutch that much in this game. I have used it a couple times to my advantage, but quite honestly, you don't really need to. And then, shifting down, shifting up, making sure you're in the right gear. A lot of that stuff seems like it's a little bit better. Not necessarily like fixed about the game. There's still some things I would maybe want to be changed about cornering. The first thing would be sliding. You just slide everywhere in every corner, and the ruts don't matter at all. And as I've mentioned in my past videos, that's one thing that when I was able to talk to the Milestone crew in Austria, I was like, we gotta have more connectivity to the ground, whether it is ruts that actually matter a little bit more or this like sliding issue with the ground going away on some level. I just feel like too often we're just loosely floating on the topsoil, and that's not exactly too true to the code of how it feels like on a real dirt bike. So positives and negatives with the cornering, but I would say that that's like the thing that you feel the most difference in this game compared to MXGP Pro, which was off of the 2017 season and the last title that these guys released. A lot of different options for camera mode. You can go on board and pull tear-offs, which is kind of cool. You just kind of switch the camera using the directional pad up or down, and you can go to different cameras. When I actually played the first build of it, you couldn't rip a tear-off on flat ground or basically anywhere, and it seems like they've updated that now. As gosh, I'm riding terrible. You can basically pull it anywhere. You can pull it on the flat ground. You can wait till you take off and pull one. So that aspect of it seems a little bit kind of cooler because personally speaking, I'm not very good at pulling tear-offs in the air in real life. That's where most of pro riders do it, of course, but I've seen plenty of times where guys come out of a corner and they're going into a straightaway and they're just, wide open with their right hand and take the left hand off, pull a tear off. So I think that was a good little fix that they did prior to actually releasing the game. And in general, I think this is really cool that they added the ability to pull tear offs, because I know a lot of people have always asked for stuff like that, just little like nuanced differences. But there's also just like a first-person camera that doesn't matter for tear-off, so you actually don't get this camera dirty at all while playing, but you still can pull a tear-off. So that's kind of cool. Then you got the long follow cam and the short follow cam. Haven't really decided which one I like the most yet, but I'm sure as I play more I'll get specifically used to one or the other. As for the air physics, which is always a talking point about these games, yeah, you don't have the free whip thing yet. I think everybody's going to ask for that and say like, well, can we throw big whips yet? No, you can't. But as I've mentioned several times before, that's not one aspect that I wish that like they need to focus on or anything like that. Would I like there to be the ability to throw a big whip every now and then? Absolutely. Just like the rest of you guys, I'm a big fan of big whips. However, it is a racing game, and I think that, you know, in terms of the racing discipline, there's other areas that could be focused on a little bit more. Regardless of the whips, I think the air physics actually need a little bit of cleaning up, in my opinion. One thing that I've stressed a lot about many of these games, not just the GP games, but also like MX versus ATV games, is it doesn't seem like many of these developers have really perfected gravity, which sounds like a weird concept to get down. You know, like just trying to build a game that you think the basis of it would be getting gravity like perfect into a T. I just feel like this game, you don't float very much. You actually kind of just go like straight up, straight down, or even kind of like just go straight down off of a takeoff. So that aspect I'm not a big fan of. Like, I actually wish that, you know, the lips would pitch you up a little bit more. I feel like you don't catch a whole lot of air off of any jumps, including the ones that should be pretty big. Like, there's a couple bigger jumps on this track nearby, like the finish line jump, for example, where in real life they're catching a lot of air and, you know, hanging up there a long time doing whips and scrubs and whatever it is that they're doing up there. But in this game, you don't have that much time because the game is constantly kind of pulling you back down to the ground. So I think that's kind of like a trade-off almost from Pro to this game, in that they made you feel a little more connected to the ground in this game, a little bit more of like actual traction, I guess. But now you don't really float as much in the air, and it's, you know, 6 in one, half dozen in the other kind of thing, where it's like, was it okay before and I was just looking into it a little bit too hard with the ground physics not being perfect, or now that the ground physics are maybe a little bit improved, are the air physics too far off? It's tough to say. I think that in general this is a pretty good, you know, recipe that they have. I would just maybe fix, you know, the suction to the ground from actual jumps a little bit in regards to the floatiness of this game. But that's just my opinion. Obviously, you guys will play it or can play it and build a different opinion of it yourself. I'm clearly not making it look very good, and I promise I wasn't playing this badly when I was just playing by myself. Usually, as what happens with most games, I start talking and immediately start sucking. So, apologize for that, but I'll try to come out in the second moto and take it to these guys a little bit better. Love this track though. Matterley Basin built beautifully in this game, no doubt about it. Gonna step another lap. See, I feel like in real life they catch a lot more air off of those two jumps right there, and I just downsided both of them. I was a little short on the finish line jump, but I felt like I wasn't up there at all. And I think that, you know, they just needs to be a little bit either bigger or just, you know, a little floatier with the actual physics. Now, one thing that they did improve in this game that I think looks fabulous is just in general the graphical improvements are amazing, and it seems like every year it gets better and better. And graphics aren't everything in a video game, but, you know, the visual appeal of modern day video games is a pretty big factor. You know, people often say like, oh, we gotta have these games, you know, looking top notch. We're in 2019 now, it can't, you know, look like Minecraft, which everybody always complains about Sim looking like. But yeah, this game is incredibly well graphically built. It is, the surfaces are super detailed. The rider and, you know, the bike, I just, you know, even in looking at it in customization mode, it is insane how detailed everything is. So that part of it is really, really cool for sure, and I've liked looking at the game, I should say. But yeah, you know, physically versus graphically, there's some room for improvement on the physical side, I would say. So let's go ahead and try to put some focus down and turn some laps here, because I'm riding terribly. I definitely am a little bit better than this. I feel like I'm sliding a lot in these corners more than I was when I played the Argentinian round. And I actually made the mistake when I started playing the career mode of putting it on full race distance right away, because I didn't realize it would put you right into a Grand Prix. And yeah, I did basically 2 full motos at Argentina before I could even play the game. So just a fair warning to any of you out there, if you want to like kind of just get through your first career race as fast as you can and go straight into the game, yeah, pick quick races. I think you're forced to do double race weekends, but you know, do the quickest races that you can if you want to get through all that stuff and check out some of the other aspects of the game instead of just doing the Argentinian Grand Prix right at the beginning. I will say, and I'm not sure if this is a fix since when I played it a month ago, and it was a pre-build, so I will say, you know, they probably did go in and try to edit a couple things. It does feel like the ruts hook you a little bit now. Not a ton, you can still glide over them, but I do feel like I've gone into some corners and the ruts are just carrying me one direction or the other. Not sure, like I said, if that's, you know, part of the build that they expanded on or what have you, but that is kind of a cool thing that it looks like they've worked on at least and are, you know, thinking towards the future. All right, let's go out and try to do a good second race here in the Grand Prix. Wrap up our Grand Prix here with a nice 22-1 ride if I can. Put the focus down a little bit here and try to ride hard. Back off and cut to the inside here. This is always such an OP way to get through the first corners clean. I'm pretty sure if I can get out to the front early and not get caught up with all these guys, that I should do a little bit better this time, because I don't think my speed was necessarily terrible in the first moto. I just wasn't out front once I got going. So a good start to this moto, right behind Jacoby, Boirami, and is that Prado perhaps up there? Which, by the way, now that I see all these riders on my actual screen, I can talk about that. Yeah, that is Prado up there. This is based off the 2019 season, which is a pretty big undertaking for them this year. It's very difficult to have a limited amount of time to get everybody in the game like this, because they basically only have from the first Grand Prix, which was only 5 months ago, until now to get everybody skinned in and, you know, detailed out as much as they want. In the past, they'd have over a year basically to do the 3D scans before the release of the game, or I guess about a year. This time, you know, with the game coming out in August, it is not that much time. And I think that's really cool because, you know, if you look at the other games out on the market that are based off of real series or things, it is all based in the current year now. You know, MotoGP, F1, you know, and then you go to Madden and MLB and all these other sports games. It's all current year stuff. It is, you know, not a year behind. So that was one thing that they were kind of lacking on, and brought it into the more modern game scope with this year, with getting the actual 2019 riders in the game. So that's pretty cool. I know that, you know, some people will like that aspect of it. Myself, I wasn't ever really like that bummed on it in the past. So, you know, it is what it is. It's cool that we get to see real riders in the game regardless. All right, so fourth at the end of lap 1 here. A little bit better start to the moto. Let's see if I can kind of put the hammer down and catch some of these guys up front. Rami trying to sneak away from me here. Yeah, those ruts are hooking. Ooh, but that one wasn't. That's a tough part, man, is you can very easily start sliding your rear end around quickly if you don't get into these ruts. I think if they're gonna have this system work with, you know, the ruts digging out and you being able to bank off of them, you absolutely have to make it so it doesn't dig out as deep as this early in the moto. I understand that it looks like it may be from the wet track base, so it's not, you know, completely hard packed or anything like that, but this looks as gnarly as the track may ever get in a full day of racing already, and we've done 1 lap, so maybe a little bit toned down on the rut digging perhaps would behoove them. Yeah, come on, turn. Alright, time expired, so 2 laps to go next time by. And at the very least, I'm not getting slaughtered this time, hanging with everybody out front, but losing touch with this lead pack. That's just kind of, the slide outs in the corners, come on. Now this is where it's gonna crush me right here. Gotta put the focus face on and kind of slice through these guys as quickly as I can, or they're gonna get away. Block Jacoby and almost land on Vial. Get around Watson here. Pushing him off the track. Oh boy, got hit in the rear there from Jacoby. Just trying to feather the throttle all the way through these corners. These ruts are definitely digging in a little bit more than I thought. In Argentina, I will say the ruts didn't do much. So maybe it is track by track type of thing where, you know, a more clay-based track like a Matterley will have more notches in it than Argentina, which is kind of like a loose base sand almost. It's not a sand, but you know what I mean. It's more of a loose dirt than it is hard pack. It's really fun sliding into these corners though, locking up the rear brake. Like I said, the clutch doesn't really matter that much, which in real life, if you're like locking up the rear brake, it's usually because you're on the clutch, dragging it into the corner. All right, let's get down to the inside of Vial here. Get on the brake and try to get to the inside. I just didn't get the drive back up the hill. And these ruts just pushing me all the way to the outside of the track. Through the uphill rollers that Tim Geiser had a big crash. And again, just cross-rutting is really what's going on right there. I'm getting the rear end in a different rut than the front one is, but it's amazing how quick it's pitching me down. And it's just everywhere. It just seems like the back end wants to slide. So I mean, it's like kind of a glass half full thing here where it's the rear end can stick into these ruts on occasion, but half the time it doesn't seem like it wants to, and then you never really know what rut is gonna stick or not. You know, it looks like it is, but it may not, which I guess to some degree can be true about real life, because you can hit a loamy rut that blows out, or you can hit a really hard packed rut that digs in. But I still think that it just needs to be a little bit more tightened up with the rear traction of the bike here. Alright, come on, get through these rollers. Seems like I can catch them pretty well on the rollers. I'm trying to get off the back of the bike. Come on, turn. Trying to slide down to the inside here and just all the way on the inside of this off-camber third gear, keeping the traction low. Trying to go where they aren't. Trying to find all the kind of loose dirt still that I can grip off of. Getting to the inside of Mitch Evans here, crossing under Jacoby. Actually making some good passes here. Get the uphill triple, not quite. Oh man, that rut kind of kicked me outside there. All right, come here, Vial. Let's try to end this with maybe a top 5, get around Albin Oslin. 4th is still a possibility up there. Cross up Vial here down the hill. Nice move. He's gonna try to sneak inside of me, but I'm gonna block that. And I'm just gonna commit to the outside here because it wasn't working to try to get to the inside anyway. Then I can table down the hill, carry some speed up to the top. Try not to cross-rut myself here again. It wasn't the cleanest, but it was better than nothing. My goggles are probably roached. I haven't pulled a tear off in like 4 laps. I get one right there. Come on. Want to get a top 5 in this moto. Oh, blew that inside. Come on. This corner's been killing me all moto too up here. Trying to get into a rut that holds. Impossible. No, come on! Ah, I thought I was missing that tough block for sure. I still held off a couple guys here. This is usually my best section of the track. Shortcut. Ah, it's a stupid line. Come on. Now I'm just losing so many positions. This is what I mean though, AI not playing around. That was one of my best efforts I could give on this early video that I'm releasing here. And again, not on a leveled up bike, not on a factory team or anything like that, but it is still nice to see that it's not just easy to cruise through everybody, even if I'm making quite a few mistakes. Oh. Maybe get Jed beaten here before the finish to get 12th. Gotta try to cross him up here in this last corner. Ah! Rear end sliding around. Alright, just hook in a rut and get to the line. 13th is okay. Ah, yay. A lot of problems at Matterley here. Going 22-13 for probably like 17th overall. Let's see. 18th, yikes. Big no-no. But I still got 8 points. How far down in the championship did I go? Oh, that's not even going to tell me. Wow, Vasson winning the Grand Prix over Boirami and Olsen. Where the heck is Prado? 6th in the championship after winning the opener. Going 1-1. Tough luck. Although Vasson's still behind me, so clearly he had a rough day. So here you go. This is your prestige goes up. You kind of level up each time. Got a level increase there, more credits. Finished 18th, and then it tells you I didn't use rewind. So that's kind of how that goes, and then it will load you back into the menu here, and this is where I'll show you a couple of things. So first of all, you have your contract here. You can choose between different sponsors, and they actually appear on the bike, as you can see in the background. Now that is kind of cool, and I'll show you why in just a second. Either way, you can always go to a team. These are the teams that you start with that are available at level 1. So you got, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 teams available here. And then, you know, as you progress, you can unlock more teams as you level up. And it looks like basically what you get to choose is your boots, helmet, and goggles. But the gear is predetermined, which I pretty much expected because most of these teams are on gear deals anyway. So yeah, official teams back in the game, which I know a lot of people were asking for and wanted. Kind of cool to see that that is available to you and available to use whenever you want, basically. Like I said, just load it up and grab yourself a factory ride. So here I am sponsored by this SEJ company, and what's really cool about it is you can go to your bike graphics, right? You can choose many of the different liveries that are available. Like let's, I have 3,600 credits. Let's pick a good one. Like this one has like a cool factory Honda look to it. A lot of different available options. And then one of these graphic sets, yeah, this one has some kind of white and black graphics that I think a lot of people will dig. Like just looks real clean overall right there. And then obviously there's special components. I'm gonna go with this factory Honda-ish look. 3,500 credits. Yeah, why not? So what I was talking about though with the sponsor is that you can determine how big or small you want the sponsor to be on the side. You can put it almost anywhere on the shroud, but shroud only. As this is going to go here on the black spot, I'm going to leave it on this little black plate right here. So leave that. But you can do the same on either side, and then the same thing with your numbers. You can choose how big or small you want. You can go pretty big or pretty small this time, so that's kind of cool that they're allowing that ability this time. Go ahead and leave that there. And then we'll change these back numbers because they're a little too big back there. A little too big. That's better. All right, so got my bike looking a little fresher now with a new livery. And then, of course, as with the games prior to this one, you have a lot of different customization options: bars, bar pads, grips, suspension, tires, rims, brake discs, exhaust. Get to change your seat if you want. A lot of cool different variants that you can do now in these games with customization, so that's obviously pretty cool. And then painting is literally just like any component that you can think of on the bike you can change the color of, which again came with the game before, so that's not new, but the new part of it was being able to kind of move your sponsor around, which I think was kind of a cool addition. And then another thing that I am not, well, yeah, I guess I can show you, sort of, yeah, no, I need to go to components. So I have Renthal bars on my bikes. This is one of the first things that I bought. If I choose to go back to stock, which I can most certainly do, you'll notice that, first of all, there is no sponsor for Renthal on the bike anymore. So like if I were to go back in and put my Renthal bars back on the bike, which is right there, and then go back, go to bike graphics, and then look around, you see the Renthal there on the back fender. So that is like, you know, adding basically sponsors to your bike as you add equipment to your bike as well, which was part of the MXGP Pro, but I just thought something I'd point out that maybe you guys didn't pick up on before. And Renthal actually appears now on my rider skin, which you can't see here. Give me the suit. So you see on the side of the jersey there, there's the Renthal logo. And I'm sure that as you add more sponsors, you know, Renthal will appear more as well. A lot of people were asking about, you know, what gear is in game, and you guys can always go through this yourself, but they do have Fast House, which I think was a question I saw asked a lot. They do not have shift gear, which was also asked a lot. They have 7 gear, and then for helmets, which I always get asked too, is they do not have Bell helmets, but they do have a little wider selection of 7 helmets this year, which is a Bell, as you can see there, but it's just 7 branded. So you still get to run a Bell helmet, it's just a 7 branding, which people don't seem to super love, but still kind of cool that you get on that. And really, that's kind of it for career mode. From there, it's just doing the races, doing the championship, and you know, eventually you get to move up to the 450 class if you so choose to. You get to look at the championship standings and the race options, which I can always go through and change here if I want. But if I were to go back to the main menu, some of this other stuff I'm going to hit on in other videos. I'm going to do a completely separate video for the playground and the track editor. And then we already went over customization and other things like that. I will do a multiplayer video later in the week doing some gameplay stuff with some friends of mine. So be sure to keep a lookout on that. But for now, this has just been a little first look video here at MXGP 2019, the official video game. Playing Matterley Basin, taking a look at some of the customization options, a couple other things like that. If you guys have any questions for me, please ask in the comments section below. I would be happy to go into game and find anything you were asking for. If not, hope you guys enjoyed this video. As always, Kellen here on Start Your Systems, saying so long for now.